Hey everybody, Dwayne here with Ignis Cycles. This is video 2 in the Custom Fighter project series I'm doing, and just thought I'd bring you in here and show you what I got going on. So let's check it out. So the first thing I did was just kind of went through and created a work order, things I knew I wanted to change and address on this bike without really digging into the weeds too far. So just some basic maintenance work. I needed an oil change, that's done. I did decide on a headlight. I've ordered the headlight I want. We'll discuss that later. Rear wheel, I'm doing some research on that. I found out in doing the research I also need to most likely replace the hub. The 2009 hub may not fit the 2014 wheel. So that's something I'm going to need to address. For a while I kind of have gone back and forth on exhaust systems, whether or not I want a high exhaust, which the Speed Triple comes with, or a low exhaust. You know, personally, I think a fighter bike, I don't know, it's just something about having a high exhaust. It just gives it some attitude. And that's kind of what this bike is about, industrial and no nonsense and attitude. So I've pretty much decided to go with the high exhaust, and that means I got to make some modifications. But that also determines where I'm going to, or what type of lighting I'm going to use for the rear. Things to relocate. I know I'm going to have to do the gauge cluster, the starter, the license plate bracket, and clip-on bars. Things to fabricate. Belly pan. The belly pan, I'm calling it the wheel hugger, whatever it is, the accent line, and the rear tail section. Let's see here. Customize. I know I'm going to customize the foot shields, and when I need to add to this the heat shields for the exhaust. And I'm also thinking about, as I'm going through this process, I'm thinking about textures and colors and drawing attention, you know, drawing your eye to the areas you want people to notice, if you will. But sometimes if you get too many textures and too many different colors going on, things can get complicated. So I think about this stuff as I design. So I'm beginning to put together a sarin coat and powder coat list of things to be flat black, gloss black, etc. You can see here I've started to take this thing apart at this point. Really kind of going through, and again, just different body panels and parts. You know, the exhaust, the gauge cluster. Some of it I know I'm going to use again, like the gauge cluster, license plate, this bracket, possibly this backing plate. This piece of the frame here, this had the headlights attached and the gauge cluster, so I'll probably chop that up and rework that for my needs. Let's take a look at the bike. You can see it over here. And again, as I'm kind of working through the creative process, I'm thinking about things I want to do and want to accentuate, whether it's powder coating or things I know I need to cover up. Like I'm going to do black bars, I'm going to do black top triple clamp. So I've started to label some things. Here as we move on to the tank, I know I want to brush this area out. So this will be unpainted, this will be raw metal. I haven't decided if I'm going to take the raw metal look down in here or if I'm going to just leave it painted. So I'm still working that through. Again, more tape. Just kind of visualizing different things I want to do. Chop this little area down here around the chain. And then I'm going to make a side mounted plate that'll wrap around the chain. So you'll see it, you know, lit and wrapped around here. I come over to the other side. And this really gives you a good look at this headlight area. Basically, the idea I'm going for here is to maintain this line. One of the things I really like about this tank shape and this bike is the lines. And so it has great lines, and I want to accentuate and keep those lines because that flow is really, in my opinion, what makes a great looking motorcycle. So I've kind of got a rough idea of the headlight size, and I'm just kind of playing with this piece of cardboard to figure out how that's going to relate to the clip-on bars and maintain the lines that I want. So that's why that's there. The next thing I'm probably going to mess with today is going to be the this what I'm calling a cowling or a tire hugger. It's not really a hugger, but basically I want to do like an aluminum shield, if you will, that'll come down the side of these radiators and just kind of clean those up, making a nicer line. And then it'll come down a little bit and hook in and just kind of follow the shape of the wheel and then back underneath the exhaust. The Speed Triple typically comes with a belly pan, and there's lots of bikes that do. To me, they just, you know, as long as they're not too complicated, they add a nice visual. So I'm not necessarily trying to cover up the exhaust, but at the same time, I'm just trying to create a nicer line right here, and especially this lower kind of wheel shape. As you kind of trace that a little bit, again, it just kind of adds a little bit of attitude and a little something extra. So, yeah, I've started stripping everything off and kind of visualizing this finished product and what it's going to look like and how the colors and textures are going to relate to each other. And that's about as far as I am right now. So you can see, again, tape. This is trying to figure out where I'm going to chop the back end. I've already taken off a lot of the body work that was underneath here. Some of it might get put back, but I think the majority of it is probably not going to be used. The chop looks like it'll happen right about here on the frame. I'll cut that off, and then I'll add. And basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to add some shape down, but also I want to increase the height of the exhaust, which means I'm going to have to fabricate some extra pipe extensions on to lift the exhaust, and then some bracketry to go in here. And one of the reasons I want to do that is I want to expose the back wheel even more. So I want that back wheel to stand out more. And I'm kind of taking some inspiration from automotive. When you have a car, a lot of times you'll see, you know, there might be a fender, and then they'll cut out the fender area at the rear, you know, to allow the exhaust to come up right and flow out of that back area. And that's kind of what I want to do here. I want to do something like that. I'll probably take round bar once I get that chopped off and begin to trace out the shape that I want, which will kind of be straight across and then have a cutout here and then fade up into the back area, and then again down, cut out for the exhaust, and then fade again. And then I'll work my LED lighting in. So maybe it'll be, you know, a brake light here, or maybe a brake light, and then a turn signal and another turn signal. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that yet, but that's part of the pre-visualization process, is just kind of playing with these ideas in your mind and getting things to start to really make sense. And for me, this is where I really start to get excited, because I really start to see this thing in its finished state. And then you're kind of at a point where you just keep chasing and pursuing that end vision as your goal. So that's where I'm at. Again, pretty excited about it. It's starting to, for me, it's starting to take some shape in my mind, and I think once I get, I'll probably shoot another video probably once I get this hugger thing figured out. You know, once I get some a rough framework here and some bones. Some people would call it a buck, but once I get something welded on here to give you a visual of what that's going to look like, I'll start messing with that and this rear section, I think, next, and start really figuring out what that's going to look like and what the shape of that is going to be. So, all right, well, that's video 2. Hope you all, this is only a second video, but I'm excited about the process and being able to do this, which is just awesome. So that's video 2. We'll see you on video 3 when I get some more of this stuff worked out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Catch you later.